Iraq's political landscape is a complex tapestry woven with historical, ethnic, religious, and geopolitical threads that have continuously contributed to its instability. Since the fall of Saddam Hussein's regime in 2003, Iraq has struggled to find a stable political footing, grappling with the challenges of sectarianism, external influences, and internal power struggles. The nation's political system, established post-2003, was designed to balance power among its diverse ethnic and sectarian groups. But this system has often led to gridlock and inefficiency, contributing to widespread dissatisfaction among the populace. The sectarian and ethnic divisions within Iraq play a central role in its political instability. The power-sharing arrangement, intended to prevent dominance by any single group, has in practice led to a fragmentation of power. Political parties are often based on sectarian or ethnic identity, rather than policy or ideology, leading to a system where allegiances are fluid and governance is compromised by continuous negotiations and realignments. This sectarian political landscape is further complicated by the influence of various armed groups and militias, some of which have significant political clout and operate independently of the central government. Iraq's rich oil reserves, while a potential source of wealth and development, have also been a curse, fueling corruption and patronage politics. The control of oil revenues has been a contentious issue, with different regions and groups vying for a greater share. This has led to recurring disputes between the federal government and regional authorities, especially the Kurdish regional government in the north. The mismanagement of oil revenues has contributed to a lack of investment in essential public services, exacerbating the grievances of the Iraqi people. External influences are another significant factor in Iraq's political instability. The country has often been the arena for regional and international power struggles. Iran's influence, particularly through its support of Shia militias and political groups, has been a defining feature of post-2003 Iraqi politics. On the other hand, the United States, Saudi Arabia, and other Gulf states have also sought to assert their influence in the country. These external interventions have often exacerbated internal divisions and hindered the development of a cohesive national identity and independent political institutions. Corruption and lack of effective governance have eroded public trust in the political system. Iraq ranks high on global corruption indices, with bribery, nepotism, and embezzlement being widespread. The failure to provide basic services, ensure security, and create job opportunities has led to widespread public disillusionment, manifesting in mass protests and civil unrest. The government's inability to effectively address these issues has perpetuated a cycle of instability. Iraq's security challenges, including the fight against the Islamic State and other extremist groups, have further destabilized the political landscape. The security situation has diverted attention and resources from essential governance and development efforts. Additionally, the presence of these groups has often been used by various political actors to justify authoritarian measures or to mobilize support along sectarian lines. The legacy of past conflicts and authoritarian rule continues to haunt Iraq. The country is still dealing with the aftermath of years of war, sanctions, and the brutal dictatorship of Saddam Hussein. These historical factors have left deep societal scars and contributed to the proliferation of armed groups, weakened state institutions, and a fragmented society. Iraq's youth, who make up a significant portion of the population, are increasingly disillusioned with the political system. High unemployment, lack of opportunities, and the perception of a corrupt and unresponsive elite have fueled anger and protest among young Iraqis. This demographic shift presents both a challenge and an opportunity for the country. If harnessed effectively, the youth can be a force for positive change, but if ignored, they could become a source of further instability. The struggle for power among Iraq's political elites has often overshadowed the need for effective governance and reform. Political leaders have frequently been more focused on consolidating their power base and pursuing personal or group interests than on addressing the country's pressing issues. This short-sighted approach has hindered the development of sustainable policies and institutions necessary for stability. The role of the international community, particularly in its efforts to support democracy and rebuild Iraq post-2003, has had mixed results. While there has been significant investment and assistance, the outcomes have often been hampered by a lack of understanding of Iraq's complex societal fabric and the unintended consequences of foreign intervention. The international community's role in Iraq's future political stability will be crucial, requiring a nuanced approach that respects Iraq's sovereignty and addresses the root causes of instability. Iraq's judicial system and rule of law are weak, further contributing to the political instability. The judiciary is often perceived as politicized and unable to hold powerful figures accountable. The lack of a robust legal framework and the enforcement of rule of law have hindered the development of a fair and just society, which is essential for political stability. The Iraqi media landscape is also a factor in the country's political instability. While there is a vibrant media scene, it is often polarized and influenced by political and sectarian interests. This has led to a lack of credible and independent journalism, making it difficult for the public to access unbiased information and contributing to the spread of misinformation and sectarian narratives. The ongoing challenge of rebuilding and reconciling a society torn apart by years of conflict and division is a daunting task. Efforts at national reconciliation have been sporadic and often superficial, failing to address the deep-seated grievances and mistrust among different communities. Without genuine reconciliation and efforts to build a shared sense of national identity, political stability will remain elusive. Iraq's political instability is also reflected in its foreign policy, which is often inconsistent and reactive. The country's foreign relations are heavily influenced by internal politics and the competing interests of external actors. This has made it difficult for Iraq to adopt a coherent and independent foreign policy that serves its national interests. The resurgence of ethno-sectarian nationalism is another challenge to Iraq's stability. In some regions, there is growing sentiment for greater autonomy or even independence, fueled by dissatisfaction with the central government and the desire for self-determination. This poses a significant threat to the unity and integrity of the Iraqi state. Education and the development of human capital are crucial for Iraq's future stability. The current education system is inadequate, failing to equip young Iraqis with the skills and knowledge necessary to participate effectively in the political and economic life of the country. Investment in education is essential for fostering a more informed and engaged citizenry and for laying the foundations of a stable and prosperous Iraq. The proliferation of arms and the presence of numerous armed groups outside of state control pose a significant threat to Iraq's political stability. The government's inability to monopolize the use of force and to integrate or disband these groups undermines the rule of law and the authority of state institutions. Iraq's potential for economic development is a key factor in its political stability. The country has immense natural resources and human capital, but harnessing these assets requires effective governance and a stable political environment. Economic development can provide opportunities, reduce poverty, and contribute to social cohesion, all of which are essential for political stability. In conclusion, Iraq's political instability is the result of a myriad of factors, both internal and external. The legacy of past conflicts, sectarian and ethnic divisions, external influences, corruption and mismanagement all contribute to the current state of affairs. Addressing these issues requires a comprehensive approach that includes political reform, economic development, social reconciliation, and the strengthening of state institutions. The future of Iraq will depend on the ability of its leaders and people to overcome these challenges and to build a stable, inclusive, and prosperous nation. The path ahead is fraught with difficulties, but with a committed and concerted effort, a stable and peaceful Iraq is within reach. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Iraq's political instability. Please like and subscribe for more insightful content on this fascinating region.